a star in Kenya's first Netflix series, Country Queen. Her name, Melissa Mokami Kiplagat. Thank you very much for joining us, Mel.
Thank you.
Much appreciated for your time. So, on the big picture, we've got like a bunch of moving parts. Behind us, we've got two ladies who are staring keenly, intently at you.
Yes.
That's Nyakerario on your right and Tracy on your left.
Okay.
They'll be asking you a bunch of questions, so I hope you're ready. There's a gentleman who's looking again very intently at you. So put your best. Is that your best side?
Guys, I don't know. We'll see.
It's
We'll
that
see. We'll
better
find
than-
out.
Congratulations. I mean,
Thank
it
you.
was a really, really stunning performance. For me, what stood out was how authentic the story was to scenes and stories like that I've covered in Africa, across different parts of Africa. And I wanted to know how deeply did you have to understand, for instance, the artisanal mining scene, gold mining, money laundering, some of the themes that you explore in the entire series.
Well, that's interesting because my character specifically, Akisa, doesn't really deal with that part of it, I guess. At least in season 1, she hasn't yet really approached the mining situation or the money laundering situation. But I do know my castmates, obviously, they had a lot of conversations, both with our directors and our writing team who did a lot of research, because a lot of research was done by the writing team before the scripts even started being made. They did a lot of surveys all over Kenya. So there was a lot of discussions with the writers and the directors, and then the actors themselves went and did their own research. But I'm hoping in season 2, if there is a season 2, that I will be more... Hopefully, we're all hoping. That's a dream.
Okay.
That's definitely the dream.
All right, so Kenyans, watch the series.
Africans,
the world, watch the series, yes.
Yeah, so hopefully in season 2, if there is a season 2, my character will be more enmeshed with that kind of storyline, and then I will do more research on that.
So there's like I said, I haven't watched it all the way to the end. Is there a cliffhanger that sort of lends itself to a season 2?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
What was the most rewarding thing about being on set and playing this role, Akisa's role?
I think because it's just a standard. For this production, it really was the best of the best in every department, not just the cast, but behind the scenes, the directors, but also the art department, the camera department, the makeup, the wardrobe. Everyone was the best of the best in the industry. And that's such an exciting set to walk into because everyone's pulling their weight. And it's challenging, especially when you're working with castmates who are all so strong. It's fun because it's challenging working against them, and it's exciting. So I think that was the best part of Country Queen, is just the caliber of everyone, both in front of the camera and behind it.
Was that the first time that you had that kind of experience acting in Kenya?
For sure. Yes, 100%.
I have to say, like, there are a couple of characters already who stand out. Aside from you, of course, there's me, Chero. Someone who's been on screen for a long, long time. Nice Givinji, who I'm like a low-key fan of a lot of the stuff.
I'm a high-key fan.
She's really good. And a bunch of your castmates are really, special in that regard. But there were also special circumstances for you while you were filming Country Queen that perhaps some people don't know about.
It was interesting because the first episode of Country Queen, we actually shot in January 2019. So the other 5 episodes we shot August to November 2021. So there was a huge gap between them. And quite a few of us became parents within that time. I wasn't the only one. So there were quite a few of us. So definitely the conversations on sets changed. All of a sudden it was like, is your baby walking yet? Is mine walking yet? So coming into the other episodes, I'd had a child. She was 4 months when we started filming, which was really young. So that was just an extra thing on set, especially when I was shooting out of town, because I gained a whole other level of respect for mothers who especially have to pump, because it's a lot. It's a lot. There was very little sleep because of it. So that was something else that I was juggling, but I wasn't the only one. There were also other parents of young babies.
What are those other things that someone like me, a man who, if I were an actor, that I just wouldn't see, I'd be blind to, that you have to deal with on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, either on set or when you're auditioning?
That's interesting because actually, when I found out I was pregnant,
Yeah.
my first thought as an actor is, oh my gosh, that means I can't work. So how am I going to make money for this child? Because in acting, if you're shooting for months at a time, we don't shoot in sequence. So there's a level of continuity you need. You need to look the exact same for a period of time. Obviously, if you're pregnant, that's a problem. So that's something, especially for us in the arts, as an actor or someone in front of the screen, the moment you get pregnant, it's like, oh my gosh, where's my money going to come from?
Yeah.
Because there's little to no chance of it coming from acting anymore. Obviously, for men, that's not the case. Your wife is pregnant, you continue as normal.
Yeah.
I know for Country Queen, I think they had actually planned on starting to shoot earlier, but because I was pregnant, they had to push the shoot back.
That's rare.
Yeah, but I think it was because I'd already done the first episode. It would have been too expensive for them to replace me at that point. So yeah, I think they had to push things back a bit. But there was pressure because I've given birth, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, Melissa, you need to get back into like your pre-COVID weight and like your body type, which is fair stuff, because between episode 1 and 2 there is no time gap, so you would need to look pretty much the same. But it was an extra pressure that I guess men don't have to deal with. If you've given birth, I need to snap back like that, and you have a newborn, you're not sleeping. At that point, I was also doing other freelance jobs, so it was a lot.
There's a lot of drama to your role.
Yes.
And a lot of deep reflection with the flashbacks that you have, and also the relationship that you have to your late father, coincidentally, for taking your baby away. Like, did you tap into some of that? Like, how did you prepare for that role?
That's a difficult question to ask an actor, I think, sometimes. I don't know. I would say it's just, when they say action, you just live in the moment of that scene and what's happening. I don't know if I don't think it's some trick or some specific process that I take. No,
like those Hollywood things of how now brown cow getting, all of those practice things.
Those are things that you do in your pre-production.
Okay.
And you'll break down the script and you'll have conversations with the director of what do we want to get out of this, and you'll have conversations with your castmate and you'll do a couple of test runs. But when you get on set and they say action, you kind of need to let all of that fall away and just be in the moment.
Yeah. One of my favorite comedians said comedy is one of the professions where you can use everything that you know.
Yeah. Okay,
right?
Yeah.
Is acting the same?
First of all, I have so much respect for comedians. I feel like comedy is being an artist on another kind of level.
Yeah.
So yeah, hats off to comedians. I think that you have to be incredibly skilled. Is acting the same? You will definitely, okay, there's two sides of it. You will pull, like I said, maybe your emotions that you felt. But I do personally think people have different methods. But I personally like to have a boundary between my real life experiences and my character's experiences. Just because I think sometimes if you bring too much of your personal life into your character, it's hard to de-roll. So if I'm bringing a memory of something traumatic that happened to me because something traumatic is happening to my character, there's a risk of almost re-traumatizing yourself. So I think it's also important to have an emotional and a mental boundary between you and your character, just for your own mental health.
Okay.
So I don't always pull from my personal life, but maybe my emotional history. Yeah.
In as much as like there's been a lot of praise for Country Queen.
Yeah.
There's also been a fair amount of like criticism on various things, and I guess people compare and contrast a lot when it's on a platform like Netflix, where you can get all sorts of like really good series. And not to say that Country Queen isn't.
Sure.
But like, for instance, your Kikamba accent, and not just you, but a bunch of actors and actresses. Is it harder to please a local crowd?
Of course, it's always harder for to deal with the local, I guess, population. I can tell you, all of us, like, that's what we were scared of when the show came out. We're just like, what is KOT going to do? Like, what's about to happen? But I feel like as an actor, especially in Kenya, you grow a thick skin. You expect that no one's ever going to be, not everyone is ever going to be happy, and
Yeah.
that's what art is. Art is subjective. Some people like it, some people won't. In terms of perfecting accents or kamba and everything, I applaud our cast for doing, in my opinion, a phenomenal job. They may not have been perfect, but I really saw the work behind the scenes of kind of getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you and it's funny, especially the Kamba thing, because I've seen criticisms of it, but I've also seen Kamba people say it was really good and
Yeah.
other ones not good. So it's just kind of like you chalk it up to the game. It's always going to happen.
Quite a number of people that I've spoken to have seen you
Yeah.
for the first time, essentially,
Yeah,
on such a big production.
sure.
So you're kind of like the breakout star, like the new
Sure.
kid on the block in a sense, but
Sure.
you've been around
Yeah.
for a while. What do you make of that quote unquote cartel like behavior in Kenya? Is it because we're drawing from a small talent pool, or is there really like some sort of predisposition or bias towards picking specific actors and actresses?
There's an actor, I wish I could remember who it was, but there's an actor who said something recently, and I was like, I think it was Robert Agengo. In an interview, he said, if you go to the hospital and you want to have heart surgery, and there is like a specialist heart surgeon, do you want him to perform the surgery, or do you want an intern, a newbie, to perform the surgery? You want him to perform the surgery. He's
Yeah.
performed it a lot of times. He knows what he's doing. He does it really well. I think that's the case, as in the people who you see multiple times, they've been in this industry a long time. You know that if you hire them and they show up on set, there's nothing you need to teach them. They already know how everything operates. They're clearly skilled. I think when you start to say, well, give other people a chance, so what should these skilled people do? If someone came and said to you, well, give other journalists a chance. Don't be on our screen so much. How are your kids going to get their school fees?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. It's a fair point, but I'd push back and say this.
Yeah.
Look, my favorite actor of all time is Denzel. Like, I can watch him drink this, cup of water and be like, you know the way.
Yeah,
he
he's
acts,
phenomenal.
right?
Yeah.
He's phenomenal, but he can't play every role. Like, there are certain roles that you look at him and you be like, I like you, but this might have fitted someone else's, someone else's persona,
Sure.
etc. And yes, to an extent, creativity is also about diversity, right? Like if you're picking flowers from the same field the entire time,
Yeah,
how
I get that
then
point
do
as
you,
well, yeah.
how then do you be able to, how then are you able to like build a beautiful bouquet, right? So I guess the other part of the question is, how then do you build the field of actors and actresses? So for every Melissa who can play a great role in Country Queen, there's another lady or another gentleman who can do a similarly, like good job in another Netflix production or another big production. Like, how do you do that? Right?
Well, in fairness, as well, because I do get that point.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the shows right now have a lot of new faces. I think I'm not the only, and it's weird for me to say I'm a new face because like I've been in the industry for a long time. I think people in the industry know me very well, but maybe not the public. But I would say for many of the shows on most platforms, I would say a lot of the Citizen shows, a lot of the Showmax shows, a lot of those leads are new. So I think there is space, and there is an expanding space for new actors. I think also it's a good time in our industry because we are expanding. The number of shows that are being shot of a high quality is also increasing. So there is now the space that people are talking about for these new talents to come up. So I think I don't think the solution is for all of those actors to stop working. They also need to have a career, and it's not fair that they've excelled and then now that they've gone to this point, let them disappear. But I think the solution would be more to continue to expand our industry and open up those opportunities, which I think is happening.
Okay. You're on a big Netflix show right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody's like, hey man, like Melissa is getting paid properly, right?
Yes.
Is acting something that you can now survive on, or you can survive on exclusively?
I definitely think there are programs right now where people are surviving off acting. I think, like I said, it's a great time in the industry. Actors are being paid pretty well.
Yeah.
Especially you look at these telenovela kind of shows.
What's pretty well? What's the scale? I mean, I'm not asking you to come on someone's payslip and say person A, but
I think they're being paid enough that they can live comfortably and their kids can go to school. If we put it that way.
That is so broad. Like
they're being paid well.
Numbers.
As in, I do know people, can I give a broad spectrum?
Yes.
Like, I would say between 150, 300, somewhere in there. People are getting paid well.
So like 150 being on the lower side of the scale and 300 per show or per episode?
Per month. I think a lot of these telenovela kind of shows, I think they're paid monthly.
Okay.
At this point. But
that's
people are being paid well. I think
that is way above the average pay that any Kenyan gets, which is great.
Yes.
And that puts actors in like the top 5% of income earners in the country. That's fantastic.
For those specific.
Well, I guess there's other people who are also like struggling. Right?
Of course.
Has life changed for you now? Like, do you walk the street and you're like, that's a chick from Country Queen. Oh my gosh, can I get your autograph? Does that happen to you?
The show just came out a few days ago.
I know, but like streaming.
Definitely on social media and things like that.
Really?
We've gotten a lot of and we've gotten a lot of love. And we're very grateful for that. Mm-hmm. In terms of my normal life, not so much, but I've also been told I look very different. So people see my poster and I'm standing right next to it and they're like, You're the same person, so it's fine. But it's fine because I like my anonymity. That's the word. So I'm fine with that, and we don't do our job. Okay, at least I don't do my job for that part of it. I just love acting.
Some people will wonder, like, so where did you get your training?
Mm-hmm. I remember my first big role. I was in the US. Stop laughing. Okay. I was in the US, and So I auditioned for this role. It was like the school play. We were in 5th grade. So it's like the last year of elementary school. And I auditioned for this role. The lead role was like a wizard, but it was male. I auditioned and they were like, oh, you're really, really good. Let's make you the wizard. Mm-hmm. And I remember a funny thing. So they were like, you need to come up with a word for like like a spell word. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm going to come up with a Swahili word because no one in the US is going to know. So you want to know what I picked? What? It's like Kitanda.
And Americans were like, wow.
Yes. Oh God, so every time I needed to do a spell, like that was the word I used. Anyway, so I started acting then. Yeah, and then I did it at Hillcrest from my high school, and I did for O levels, and I actually got the best in the world grade for that year. Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah, in the world for that year group for drama. Okay. I had the top in the world grade. And then I stopped it. I went to Brown. Yeah. I was doing economics.
Yeah, which is like a really interesting change of pace. Like, why economics?
Well, I was always good at school. So it was, for me, it was always like, I'm either going to do like Wall Street or I'm going to do creative. Mm-hmm. And I like stability. So I was like, Wall Street is the stable choice. Yeah. So I did it. But then like by the end of the first year, I was like, I would just rather die than do this anymore. But I was already halfway through the course. So I finished my economics course, but most of the last half of my time at Brown, I did a lot of acting courses and things. And so that's kind of when I made the decision to do this professionally. Mm-hmm. I came back to Kenya 2013 and I joined theater. So I did a lot of Phoenix, Allianz, that kind of thing. Then I started doing stage around 2015. I did my master's in London at Mount View in acting in 2016, 2017. Then I came back. I've just been doing screens since, and I started training actors as well when I came back. And then here I am.
That's interesting. So are you trading for pay or like because you truly believe that you need to build a field?
I never charge actors enough for me to make money off of. My parents, like they're very much like NGO, like civic duty kind of people. Yes. And I've really always hated brain drain and the idea of brain drain. So I do feel like if you're the most trained, if you're the most capable of improving the industry that you're in, then as a Kenyan, it's your responsibility to do that. So I came back. Obviously, I know most of the people in my industry don't come from well-off backgrounds. Most of them are not going to be able to ever afford the training I had. So that's why I train, to give them the opportunity to get that kind of training. And improve the standard.
Because my final question was going to be,
Yeah.
are we seeing the beginnings of another sort of like walk towards fame like we did with Lupita? Because her story is similar to that extent.
I would love that, not even for the recognition, but just like I can imagine the quality of script and the character. I love acting. Like, I don't care much about the fame or anything. I love the acting and the challenge of it. So I'd love to take part in those kinds of productions that really challenge me as an actor. But I don't ever want to stop acting in Kenya. And I really do. That is like a dream of mine, to get to the point where you don't need to leave Kenya to have an incredible career. So both. I love both.
That's a really good dream, because there are people out there who are looking at you now and the kind of success you've had in the short term and wondering, will I ever get there? Mel, this show is both about some of like the deeper things that we've spoken about today, but it's also about informing members of the public about disinformation with respect to all sorts of fields.
Sure.
Now, given that you are well traveled, you're well educated, I like to believe, right?
Oh God.
We have a couple of questions for you, right? So I'm just going to go over there and stand with my team and laugh as you get them wrong, but it's okay.
No.
So Nyakirario, Tracy, what are we thinking about asking Mel today in terms of fact, no fact? What are we even calling this segment?
Do I get a prize if I get everything right?
Yeah, another cup of water. And we've got lots of water.
Great.
We can give you.
Awesome.
All right, so let's go. Tracy, Nyakirario?
Hi.
Hi.
This segment of the show is called Ukweli Uongo.
Okay.
Can she say ukweli uongo like in like a proper Kiswahili?
Chanel and why?
Sema
Ukweli Uongo.
Ukweli.
Shash.
So,
Okay.
So it's called Ukweli Uongo.
Okay.
So we're going to project something here.
Okay.
So what we have on the screen right now is an opinion poll.
Okay.
So just look at it keenly
Yes.
and tell us whether it's an actual like opinion poll or if it's been manipulated. Just look at it.
I think it's been manipulated.
What makes you say so?
Okay. I'm not the most politic conscious person, but from what I've been seeing, I have a feeling that the gap is not that big.
Okay. Is she right?
Interesting. Yeah, you're actually right.
Yeah, well done.
Am I right for that reason? That's what's different about it?
Yes.
Well, she's right for
That's
that reason.
one of the reasons.
Okay.
Just one of them.
All right. So
Okay.
what are the other reasons?
Yeah.
First of all, for an opinion poll like this one, it was supposedly done by Infotrack Poll.
Yes.
So across their social media platforms and their website, they should have uploaded this because this is something of public interest right now. And also, Polycarp Igathe and Sakaja, who are the two contenders there, have not uploaded this anywhere. This was only uploaded by a person who supports one of the candidates.
I see.
Yeah, so he attempted to make it seem like his candidate of choice is in the lead.
I see. Okay.
I want you to ask us something and we see whether we know. Ukweli uongo. Do you have anything to ask?
Has to be political?
No, it can be anything. Let's see.
What are the names of the 3 directors of Country Queen? Points if you can even mention one.
And you guys are the fact checkers. You guys know. We can't
One
check
of them was also the director of Nairobi Half-Life.
Tosh Getonga.
Good job. Yes. Also
All right.
Vincent Baya and Brian Munene. There you
All
go.
right.
Okay.
So 1 out of. Okay, no, it's bad. It's bad. Guys, thank you.
Guys.
Thank you very much. Really good
That was
question.
super interesting.
Mel, so the team, like you've seen, working really hard, really smart people there.
Very.
A lot smarter than I used to be at that age, and possibly even smarter than I am now. But
I agree.
You agree? Art, politics, and saying things or acting in roles that are a reflection of what happens in society sometimes can be dicey, right? So you have Wanuri's example, where that film gets banned in Kenya, but there are very urgent, like social themes that we are dealing with, or we are seeing unfolding in front of us as a society, that perhaps might be better received if they came through the vessel of a film,
Yes.
right? So is there one particular theme or role that you'd want to play that you feel is really urgent for Kenyans to see and kind of consider?
I know there's a role that I want to play that I don't know about if it's a timely role for what we're going through today, but I've always wanted to play. I feel like when we talk about sexual assaults and when we talk about intermarriage violence, there's a sensitization to it. It's too easy to watch. Whereas if it was happening right in front of you, it wouldn't be so easy. And that's something I've always wanted. I've always wanted to show those acts happening as they do in real life. They're ugly and they're grotesque and they're not easy to watch and they're not easy to digest. And I would love to explore that, especially intermarriage violence, intermarriage rape, because it's something that I don't know.
Like intimate partner violence, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's really one of the most urgent themes when it comes to sexual and gender-based violence in Kenya. That's a really important one. So I look forward to watching a film in which you depict this. Of course, it'll be tough for
writers write about that.
But I am glad that you are conscious to how pervasive it is, especially in the wake of COVID-19.
Yeah.
Melissa, I can't thank you enough for coming, for joining us.
Thank you. This is fun.
Like I said, we've got Louis behind me, and Louis is our resident caricature artist.
Why are you smiling?
No, I'm smiling.
I'm nervous.
It's a nice part of the show, right?
Okay.
And because every guest that comes here, we try as much as possible to extract as much as we can in the time that we have in terms of your area of experience. And I feel like I've learned a lot. The ladies back there certainly learned a lot, and they've asked really good questions of you. So this is our parting gift to you.
I get to keep it?
Yes, you do. You thought I was just going to give it to you for camera.
I was going to take it anyway, but...
Of what use would it be for me to have a picture of Melissa hanging it? I'm joking. All right? So...
I'm so nervous. It's good. It's nice. I'm so nervous. I don't know.
No, it's cool.
Oh my God!
Yeah?
Oh my
you like
God!
It?
Yeah.
Show everybody.
Oh my God! You're so good!
Thank you.
Yeah? So that's our gift to you.
Oh my
Thanks
gosh.
for coming by. Yeah? And you can remember that time that you sat with me here on the big picture with all of us.
Yeah.
And we'll get a copy of it and hang it on our wall of fame so everybody knows that you came through.
Yes.
Yeah?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I love it.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks a lot.
This is fun.
Yeah. Thanks
Call
a
me
lot.
back again. I want another one.
Oh, you do? You want another one?
Yes.
Okay, so you'd have to come with Nini.
No problem.
Are you sure?
No problem.
All right, so then we'll invite you guys back again. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. So guys, Melissa Kiplagat, she's a lead actress on Kenya's first Netflix series, Country Queen. Catch it if you're streaming there. And go and critique the work, look at it, and appreciate and support local artists. And of course, engage with the work from wherever it is that you're coming from. Like I've said on this show, we try as much as we can to really give you, the architecture, the underpinnings of what's going on in different industries, different places, and hopefully successfully have done that with this episode of this show. You can follow us on YouTube. The show is going to be posted there. All of the links to the work that Nyakerario and Tracy and the team at Piga Firimbi are doing will be in the description for this video. So if you're thinking about stuff that you're not sure about online, you can go and check it out there. So like I was saying, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, like I've done like my second TikTok video.
Are you serious?
It's bad. Like, you're like a 40-year-old man.
I want to see.
That's such a anyway. Yeah. So we're on TikTok, Instagram, like I said, LinkedIn, and of course Twitter. My name is Allan Namu. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode. We'll catch you on the next stream. Remember to keep watching and sharing the big picture. Cheers, guys.